Are you eating clean or healthy and somehow still having hormonal imbalances? If you're dealing with things like estrogen dominance, really bad PMS, PCOS, and you're also eating nutrient-dense foods and wondering why you still have symptoms, this video is for you. I'm Eden, a certified health coach, and after years of struggling with those exact same issues, I've identified the 8 foundational pillars at the root of hormonal imbalances, what I call the vital feminine framework. And today we're diving into one of the most important pillars, nutrition. I spent nearly 13 years on restrictive diets that absolutely destroyed my hormones and health. I'm talking heavy and painful periods, debilitating anxiety, and just zero energy. I thought I was doing everything right, but I felt terrible. Here's what I learned. Your body needs specific nutrients in order to make your hormones work. And so many women with hormone imbalances have nutrient deficiencies or imbalances in their nutrition without even realizing it. Today, I'm breaking down 2 sneaky ways you could be sabotaging your hormones with your diet right now. This is what shocked me the most. When I got off of the restrictive diets and started nourishing my body with nutrient-dense foods, I thought I had solved my health problems for good. But I ran into a whole new set of problems that I did not see coming, and that's what I want to share with you today. So, the 2 sneaky ways you could be sabotaging your hormones. They're both 2 different extremes. These are some of the most common ways in which we can mess up our hormones.
Okay, before we dive in, I just want to say, obviously, there are women out there who might be doing just fine hormonally on these types of diets, but I am speaking to the many women who, like me, did not do well and the common mistakes made on these types of diets.
So example 1 is a restrictive diet, like in my experience, plant-based or vegan diet that is high in fruits and vegetables and a lot of fiber and plants. This has the potential to cause macro and micronutrient deficiencies because we are not able to always get all of the necessary nutrients from plants. Not to mention that restrictive diets can also cause or exacerbate disorders like orthorexia, which is the obsession with eating healthy, which I definitely got over the course of those nearly 13 years. Bioavailable protein is not available in most plant foods. Complete proteins with all the essential amino acids is also difficult to get in plant foods. When we think of like a plant-based diet, because it is so rich in vegetables and fruit, we think that, oh, my micronutrient status must be great because there's so many micronutrients in plants. That's the thinking I had when I was vegan, but you'll be shocked when I tell you the deficiencies I had. There's this misconception that you can just get everything you need from plants. It's not really that simple. The second example is a pro-metabolic or animal-based diet.
Okay. These 2 diets are not the same, though there are overlaps. So here's a general breakdown of the 2 eating patterns. Obviously, there are going to be variations and modifications people make on both. Core features of a pro-metabolic diet are high-quality animal products, nose-to-tail eating, low PUFA fats, low anti-nutrient fruits, easy-to-digest starches, and some natural sweeteners. A pro-metabolic diet focuses on nutrient density, bioavailability, and digestibility. Core features of a animal-based diet are, of course, animal products, nose-to-tail eating as well, high-quality dairy, low anti-nutrient carbs, no processed foods, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, and even more extreme carnivore version of this diet excludes all plant foods. Overall emphasizes high-quality animal protein and fats and reduced anti-nutrients found in plants.
The issue with this type of diet is that you can potentially miss some of the fiber and plants because it does typically emphasize more of the animal protein and animal fats. And if it's not balanced, it can cause some issues. For example, animal protein and fats can be a lot more calorically dense and delicious and easy to overeat, essentially. So healthy doesn't mean that it's not gonna cause increase in body fat. So think of things like high quality milk, butter, red meat. Those things can be very calorically dense and cause different metabolic issues like body fat increase if it's not balanced. Excessive body fat can lead to a whole different range of metabolic issues like blood sugar imbalances, insulin resistance, inflammation, and hormonal imbalances as well, especially if you're eating processed foods as well and not getting as much nutrient-dense plant foods. This is a whole nother conversation, but excess fat in itself changes your appetite hormones as well. So it can be a vicious cycle for your metabolic health. So like I said, I went from one extreme to the other. Over the span of almost 13 years, I was pescatarian, vegetarian, then vegan. And especially as a vegan, I was eating a lot of healthy, diverse, colorful plants. I was lean, I looked healthy. Although in certain years, actually when I was vegetarian, I feel like you could see like the anemia on my face. At the time, I didn't fully understand nutrition plays such a huge role, not just in your hormonal imbalances, but also like your anxiety. Like your anxiety can be completely different depending on what you're eating. Nutritional deficiencies are not just important because of hormones, but also because of like your nervous system and your brain and your overall health. There is a bidirectional relationship between your brain and your sex hormones. It all matters. But yeah, the macro and micronutrient deficiencies, I actually got tested when I did a very comprehensive functional nutrition test towards the end of me being vegan. And I was very low in magnesium. I was low in B vitamins like B1, B2, B6, B7. I was low in antioxidants like glutathione and A-lipoic acid, which, like I said, you'd think like, oh, I'm eating plants all day long, getting a lot of nutrient-dense foods and antioxidants, but it's not always that straightforward. I was low in omega-3, which is crucial for brain and inflammation. I had insufficient vitamin D, even with supplementing. I was extremely low in ferritin, which is your iron stores. That's actually what triggered me to switch to an omnivore diet. My ferritin was like a 4 or something crazy. When I think about holistically the things I was missing when I was on a vegan diet, number one, I had no bioavailable protein. So my body never had stable, consistent energy. My blood sugar was dysregulated. So even though technically on my blood tests, my A1C and my fasting insulin looked fine, I would get hypoglycemic if I didn't eat every 2 hours. My blood sugar would drop so low, I would get really bad anxiety. I felt like I was gonna faint. My functional doctor at the time was like, that's hypoglycemia. I definitely had a couple supplement gaps when I was vegan. I was supplementing with different things like I remember B complex and iron and some other things, but I do think I was missing some things. But I didn't know that I was low in magnesium and omega-3, for example, until towards the end of me being vegan. So even with what I was supplementing, vitamin D, like I said, and the others, I still wasn't able to reach adequate levels for some of them, let alone optimal. But also I just think about even if I did improve my levels with supplements, what does that say about the diet if half my diet has to be supplementation? It just didn't make sense to me. In my opinion, it was just so much easier to get these nutrients from food. When I first started reincorporating animal products in 2022, the difference was night and day. My brain turned on, my moods were stable, my energy was stable, my periods were no longer painful, they were lighter, they were easier, they were shorter. So at first I was following this pro-metabolic, more animal-based style of eating that looked like raw milk, butter, beef, and eggs for breakfast and things like that. It did me so well. Like I said, the results were just all those changes in my energy and mood and periods. However, I made the mistake of eating too many high calorie, hyper palatable foods, processed foods. That's what led me to have issues. The combination between high fat and high carb is what quickly led me to gain fat, especially because I was also not having enough vegetables and fiber.
Okay, I'm sure you can hear my voice going out. I went to go reapply my lip oil and I got this weird allergic type reaction where my throat was like irritated and I literally could not speak without my voice cracking. Sorry if I look tired towards the end of the video. I swear I was not high. It just took a lot of energy out of me to try to like clear my throat and practice speaking for so long before coming back to film. So sorry about that. Okay, back to the video.
It also didn't help that I wasn't getting enough exercise during this time. I was coming from years of vegetarian and veganism, and this is the issue with imbalanced diets, is that coming from that world, I was like psyched to have burgers and fries and milkshakes and not the vegan versions, but like the real thing. My body was so nutritionally depleted that it was easy for me to go into overload and have too much meat and too much dairy and too many carbs and too many processed foods, that it just tipped the scale too much. Essentially, the hyperpalatable foods and processed foods were very addictive. Caloric excess just created a lot of different metabolic issues like increased body fat, PCOS symptoms, really bad skin issues, and gut issues. So a lot of inflammation and insulin resistance symptoms I was having, which I'll share more in the future in detail about those things. There's nothing wrong with high quality meat. There's nothing wrong with high quality dairy. There's nothing wrong with carbs. It's that when there's excess of those things, it can cause issues, especially like I said, that high fat, high carb combo. It's an easy way to gain more fat. That's essentially what happened to me. What I wish I knew sooner was just how to eat a balanced omnivore diet. It's really that simple, but I just wish I knew that from the start. And I feel like I could have avoided a lot of the issues that I had over the years and not swung from one extreme to another or stuck to a diet for dogmatic reasons. The point here is that both eating patterns can cause hormonal imbalances, just in different ways. The key takeaway here is that nutrient deficiencies are nothing to play with. You could be sabotaging years of your life, your health, without getting proper nutrition. It's so important. We have to be feeding our bodies what it specifically needs and just striking the right balance of protein, healthy fats, complex carbs, vegetables, fruits is so important because those are the building blocks for healthy hormones. And if you're wondering what those exact nutrients are that we need for healthy hormones, that's exactly what I'm going to be breaking down in my next video. I'm going to be going over the essential macro and micronutrients we need for healthy hormones and where to get them from real food. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that you know when my next video drops. And if any part of this video resonates with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear other stories, and I think it's so important that other people also hear, because that's how we feel less alone on our journey, because these journeys can feel very isolating and difficult sometimes, but that's why I'm sharing, so that you know you're not alone. So if you feel comfortable sharing, let us know in the comments what your experience with any of this has been. And if you want to go deeper, you can apply for one-on-one health coaching with me in the description. You'll find the link there. And if you found this video helpful, I think you'll enjoy this one next.